Boom! Flashlight review. Welcome back to another Wvgunsngoats video, everybody. Tonight we are here on the tabletop to take a look at the S21 by the company Rovyvon. They have sent me this light to show you all, and I have been using it on and off for the past month and a half. Isn't that how you use a flashlight anyway? On and off? This light boasts a 3000 lumen turbo mode, and that brings back memories of when PCs also had a turbo mode. And if you're a millennial, you'll probably remember those days. It has also surprised me with its battery life as well, just how long it's lasted. I'm going to show you the light and everything that comes inside this case here on the tabletop, but then we're going to take this light outside after dark so I can show you the different modes of light it has in a real world outside environment. Before we open this case, I'd like to ask you to headbutt that subscribe button and join the herd here at Wvgunsngoats. So how much will this light cost you? Well, this light runs $109.95 on Amazon. In fact, after you watch this video, if you decide you want to buy one of these for yourself, a friend, a family member, down in the description of this video is going to be an Amazon link that's going to take you right to the page where you can purchase this light. And if you do purchase it through that Amazon link, I want to say thank you, because that's going to help us here at the channel to continue bringing you content. Take a look at that plastic case one more time before we open it up. Hard plastic case with these two clasps on it. Go ahead and open them up and we see what's inside here. We've got a manual, and I'm going to set that aside for now. We have a little piece of paper that has their website listed on it and a certificate of authenticity. Next up, this is a charging cable, a USB-C cable, because this is a rechargeable flashlight. There's no need to worry about buying new batteries or having to dig through the junk drawer in your kitchen to try to find new batteries. You can just plug this in and let it charge up when it's dead. And then we have a little lanyard here. We'll take a look at this light. I'm going to spin it so you can look at it from all sides here. But we're going to set this light aside here in a moment and look at the manual. So I'm going to put this manual up on the screen in full view. If you want to pause this video and read all of the tech specs that it has, because there's a whole list of them here, go ahead and do that. I'm going to point out the important ones to you. It is an aluminum alloy body. It is a 5.6 inch long main body with a 1.16 inch head diameter and a 1 inch diameter body. It weighs 4 ounces without a battery and 6.2 ounces with the battery, I believe. Its beam has a 437 yard reach, and it is also rated for a 5-foot drop, and it claims to be waterproof. Now if I flip this over, we have a chart of all the different specs of the multiple lumen modes this light has. I mentioned it has a 3000 lumen turbo mode. Well, it also has an eco mode, which is 30 lumens with a 65-hour runtime. Next is a low mode with 200 lumens and a 13.5-hour runtime. A 800 lumen medium that runs for 2.5 hours. Then you get into the higher end and the turbo modes. The high has a 1600 lumen mode with 4 minutes of runtime. And the turbo has that blinding 3000 lumens for 10 seconds. That's it. Then it steps down to medium, because if you kept running this light at turbo and high, you wouldn't be able to hold on to this light. It gets pretty warm near the head area with extended use of the turbo and the high mode. I went ahead and cleared the desk off so we could take a closer look at the light, and I've got a USB-C cable here. I'll show you the charging portion of this light as well. Starting at the front, we have a bezel here with these strike points on it. I know they have a correct name. I just forget it right now. Let me know down there in the comments section. The reflector is super high polish, and you can see the LED down there in the center of it. We have the Rovyvon logo here and the S21 Search model. We have 4 battery indicator LEDs. I'll speak about those too in a moment. Then we have the main controls here. We'll come back to them. The body of this light is ribbed and knurled here so you can have a good grip on this light when you're holding it. We have a pocket clip here. The tail cap, it is knurled to give you grip when you go to unscrew it, because before you use this light for the very first time, there is an insulator in here you have to remove from the battery, so you are going to have to take the battery out the very first time. but because it charges in the light, you won't have to take it out very often. The tail cap also has a lanyard spot, and it's magnetic. That allows you to work hands-free. You don't need a small child to hold the light for you, but you'll still need someone to get you that socket you need. Let's unscrew the tail cap and look at the battery. Another thing to note is these threads here. They are coarse threads, and they are anodized. A lot of times you'll unscrew a light and you'll see these really fine unanodized threads. It's nice to see coarse anodized threads there. The battery inside this light is a 5000 milliamp hours 21700 battery that's branded with Rovyvon's logo on it, 3.6 volts, 18 watt hours, and it even has a USB port. Then this is the positive side of the battery. Slides right in there. It slides in nice. It's not too tight. It's not too loose. And it feels very well machined on the inside. Take a look down into there. Another thing is this tail cap has a good bit of tension, and you really have to push down on it to get the threads to start, but not too hard and not too light. But it does have a good bit of tension to it. So let's talk about the controls of this light. First off, when you pick this light up, like I did when I first got it, and I went to turn it on, and nothing happened. That's because this button, while it is also the turbo and the mode button, when the light is off, only shows you the battery level. And the battery level is these 4 LEDs right here. Now this first or last LED, depending on which way you want to look at it, under 5% battery level, this LED will turn red to be like, hey, I'm dying here, charge me up. So you know when the light needs to be charged again. To charge the light, you come back here to this USB-C port that's covered by this rubber cover. It's also marked USB-C in 2 places, right there on the rubber and right above it. That keeps the elements, the water, the dirt, and everything out of the charging port. If you plug it in, as we did right now, you can see a blue LED indicator light. That light is going to pulse while the light is charging, and it's going to turn solid green when the light is charged. Let's go ahead and unplug it, and I'll show you the other controls. Coming back to the front of the light here, this is the actual switch for the light right here. As I said, battery level, mode, turbo button. Now, 2 of those, the mode and the turbo button, are only applicable when this light is turned on. And from here on out, there is a photosensitivity warning if you're sensitive to strobes. This collar is the main switch to turn this light on. If you turn it to the right, you're going to get a regular flashlight beam. If you turn it to the left, you're going to get a strobe mode. And that's where one of my pet peeves with this light, my complaint that I have about this light, comes in. But after a month and a half, I've gotten pretty used to using this light now. When you're new to this light, it's going to take some getting used to. When you go to operate the light, most of the times you want this. A nice solid beam of light. But because you're learning this light, you're probably going to do this and get a strobe instead of a solid beam of light that you wanted. And that was my biggest issue while I was learning this light, was remembering which way I had to turn it to get the actual beam of light, because most of the times I'd get a strobe when I wanted that. So it's just a little bit of a learning issue. When you have this light on strobe and you press the mode button, it's going to switch to an SOS flashing. This is called, they don't call it strobe mode, they call it emergency mode, because it has that SOS mode as well. You press that again and you're back to strobe. Oh, every time you change modes on this, it shows you the battery level that's left, which is a nice little thing that it does. So when we go to the right side, this has a mode memory when you're in the standard beam. So whatever mode you turn this off on, whatever lumen level you turn it off on, when you turn it back on to the solid beam, it's going to remember that. It does not remember it for emergency mode. Right now, I have it in the 30 lumen eco mode. And the funny thing about that is 30 lumens sounds not like a lot of lumens. Heck, I remember when I first got my first Surefire, it was a 6p incandescent. It had 60 lumens for 60 minutes. And back in the early 2000s, I thought that was a portable sun. Flashlight tech has come so far since then to where we have flashlights with thousands of lumens that you can easily double or triple, quadruple the amount of power output that original 6p had. Let me show you those modes inside. We're going to go through these outside as well. So there's the eco, low, medium, high, back to eco. To get that turbo, you press and hold this button, and that's the 3000 lumen turbo right there. We are outside now. We have targets on the range at 25 yards from where we are standing. We are going to start with the strobe mode and the SOS mode, so photosensitivity warning. Here is the strobe mode. SOS mode. If you're in strobe mode and you press the turbo button, you will get turbo mode. Until you release that button, it will go back to strobe mode. Now I'm going to cycle through the standard beam modes, starting with eco, then low, medium, high, and back to eco before turbo. Turbo. Ahead of me is a barn at 70 yards, and past that is a tree line at around 100 and so yards. I'm going to cycle through the main modes of the solid beam. So I want to say thank you for joining us for this video review of the S21 by Rovyvon, a small but powerful multi-mode flashlight. This has been another Wvgunsngoats video, everybody. Remember, if you're not out there having fun shooting, what are you doing?